What's up, guys? Welcome back to Winner's Circle. I'm JJ.
I'm Caleb.
And here we are bringing you our weekly episode. This our longer episode, so we're going to get into a bunch of topics just all around sports in general. You know, we got some MLB stuff to talk about, some NFL stuff to talk about, some NBA stuff to talk about. But college football season's coming up, so that's
so exciting, man.
Yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
My favorite time of year. Well, I don't know.
Around
that or college baseball season.
This time is just so much fun because it's August and the MLB starts to feel like October, even though it's not October.
Yeah,
college football is right around the corner.
You're getting down to seeing who the real contenders are.
It's just such a fun time of the year, man.
So we're gonna try to start this one off a little different. We're gonna play a game. We've each come up with 5 college football stars, either former, current, whatever. And we've got some hints that we'll give each other to, and the other person's going to try to guess whoever we're talking about or thinking about. So,
what does the winner get?
Bragging rights.
Nice. Okay. Number 1. This is one you should get. He was a running back. He had 1,391 yards his senior year. Booby.
Anthony Dixon.
Anthony Dixon.
I mean,
that third hint gave it
state legend.
State legend. Best running back state's ever had, man, honestly.
Yeah.
His 2009 year was just insane.
My mom had a saying, when, she knew absolutely nothing about football, but whenever we were watching games during that Dixon era, she'd say, Crum only has 3 plays he runs. Dixon to the left, Dixon to the right, and then Dixon right up the middle.
Literally.
And then we start right over again. So,
and then even when Dan Mullen got there that senior year, that still was the game.
I mean,
he was just that good of a running back, man.
He was a tank. But, all right, here we go. Another state legend. All right, you might get it off this first hint. The all-time receiving touchdowns leader at Mississippi State.
Okay. I should know that, but I don't.
He's currently on staff at Utah. He was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Dolphins and the Jags, but he never played.
All right, so it's not who I was thinking because of what you just said. Because the person I was thinking of did play.
This guy was on both teams. Might have played on practice squads, but I couldn't even find any preseason stats.
I know this guy. The guy I was thinking of played preseason for a completely different team, so it's not who I'm thinking of. The fact that this isn't jumping out to me is making me mad.
It's Dan Mullen era.
Yeah, I knew that. I'm trying to think. It's not who I was thinking of.
I mean, I've got a hint that I'll just give it away.
Is it Fred Ross?
No, he is the receiving yards leader.
That's okay. This is
and second in receiving touchdowns.
Fred Ross is, or this guy?
Fred Ross.
Yeah, it's okay.
This guy's the leader in receiving touchdowns. I'll tell you his jersey number.
Go for it.
Number 1.
Is it Chad Bumpus?
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of. I thought he played. That's who I was thinking of first. I thought he played preseason for the Detroit Lions.
I could only find that he was signed. Maybe he did, but I couldn't find any preseason.
I was thinking Chad Bumpus at the beginning, and then I was like, no, I could have sworn he played for the Detroit Lions.
This dude was my favorite player, one of my favorite all-time state players. Anyway,
I guess he didn't, but man, I could have sworn I saw him play.
Yeah, Jags and Dolphins, I think, are the only 2 he ever signed to.
That's why I was so. That's the first person that came to mind when you said it. And then you gave me the NFL, and I was like, no, never mind. I guess I'm wrong, but. Dude, I have a story about Chad Bumpus, man. Mississippi State Fan Day. I forgot the year. I am 3 people away from getting my poster signed by Chad Bumpus. Man takes a phone call and leaves. Mississippi State spring game, year after his senior year. He's sitting by the fence. I go to get an autograph. He asked if I have a pen. I said, I'll go get when I come back, and he's nowhere to be found. I never got that man's autograph, and I wanted it so bad because... Bro, and not only just a great wide receiver, a great punt returner too.
Yeah, electric.
Insane. All right, I should have got that.
So he was just avoiding you for.
Yeah, I guess he just didn't like my face or something.
Probably.
He's like, oh man, it's that guy again.
Yeah, that kid. He probably wouldn't have said that guy when you were 10 years old.
Yeah, that kid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right,
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
He's a Heisman Trophy winner.
Okay.
Probably the greatest Canadian Football League player of all time. He has made the worst college football video game in history.
Made the worst college football video game in history.
Mm-hmm.
CFL player. Trent Richardson?
Mm-mm.
No. Oh.
It's a bad game.
Ooh. Doug Flutie?
Yep.
Maximum football.
The worst college football game you will ever find. I paid $20 for it because I was like, okay, you can customize teams. It's college football. The controls can't be that bad. The controls are bad.
Yeah.
Graphics are bad.
I haven't heard great things about it.
It's such a bad game.
I never did buy it.
And I didn't expect it to be as good as like an EA Sports football game, but I was like, if it's decent, but like Axis Football League is better, that you can play on your computer is better than that. I was like, gosh, this sucks. Anyways, you can go.
All right, this one should be a very easy one. He's a quarterback from Jacksonville, Florida. He's won 2 national championships. You know who it is?
Not yet. Yeah, I think so.
You'll know after this one. Ephesians 2:8.
Is it Tim Tebow?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking John 3:16 on his eye black.
Well, he had several ones, but
Yeah.
Ephesians 2:8 through 10 was a mainstay. I was just thinking you'd think Bible verse, anything, but
yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
Tim Tebow, not bad, not hard.
I would argue the greatest college football player in our lifetime.
I'd argue against that, but I respect Tim Tebow. He's a great player for college football. I just don't think he's the best college football player.
Okay.
All right. This guy was also a Heisman quarterback.
Okay.
He was a runner-up for the national championship. And the year he was the runner-up for it was one of the greatest years in Mississippi State football history.
Okay.
And he's from Hawaii.
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota.
Go.
I love watching Marcus Mariota play, man. And I like watching Oregon play.
You know, he's actually going to be starting again this year for the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes.
I hope he does well. I'm rooting for him.
I hope he does. I always liked Mariota.
I did too.
Hated his Tennessee. It did not work out in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. This is probably the hardest one on my list. Dan Mullen was this guy's quarterback coach at Utah.
Alex Smith.
Yep. Wow. I really didn't know if you'd get that one.
Yeah. Dude.
Here's some Alex Smith stats that I didn't know that were going to be. He finished 4th in the Heisman voting in 2004, and then he was the number 1 overall pick in 2005.
It's so sad what happened to him, man. He was such a good quarterback. And
Yeah. I will say he was past his prime when the injury happened, but still.
Even still, I mean.
Yeah.
Great
quarterback. Seems like a great guy.
Yeah. I root for him anytime he gets a chance just because, you know. But yeah. All right. Overrated.
Okay.
Smoking hot wife.
Okay.
National champion.
Oh,
so the hints aren't the best.
I think I know. The first guy I was thinking about, you said national champion, and that took him out. So I'm going to go with A.J. McCarron.
A.J. McCarron. I've never liked A.J. McCarron. He was always overrated. I mean, he wasn't that great of a quarterback. It showed in the NFL. He was a perfect fit for Saban at Alabama, though, when he had... Was Mark Ingram his running back? No, Mark Ingram was Greg McElroy, who's another overrated quarterback. His running back was someone good. I mean,
one of the great Alabama running backs. You got Mark Ingram, Trent Rich. I mean, you can just go down a list.
Plus, great wide receivers, the best offensive line in college football.
I mean, but
and he always talked himself up too. He always I'm the best quarterback in the SEC. Like, no, you're not, dude. You never were. Not a single year you were at Alabama. But
yeah. But, I mean,
congratulations on the wife, dude. I mean...
and he won the national championship, so...
He did, but so did Jake Coker, so...
Yeah.
Alabama hasn't had good quarterbacks until Jalen Hurts. And then ever since, they've had a great quarterback.
Jalen Hurts to Bryce Young, yeah.
And Mac Jones also.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I mean... Yeah.
Jalen Hurts started a movement at Alabama on great quarterbacks. But before that, they had average quarterbacks at best and just great players around them.
But... Yeah, I mean, the average quarterbacks did enough to win a national championship, so you can't really fault them a whole bunch.
That's all they needed, man.
Yeah, I mean, they were perfect for what they needed. Yeah. So, all right, this one's a pretty easy one that I think you'll get. He won the Thorpe Award while at Mississippi State for the best DB in the country.
Yeah.
He had a pick 6 off of the before mentioned name Tim Tebow.
Chad Bumpus. Not Chad Bumpus. I'm so sorry. He coaches at. I don't know why.
He coaches at New Hope now.
At New Hope.
Second round pick by the Bucks in 2013.
He was my favorite player. He had a pick six against South Alabama that was on SportsCenter top 10 for freaking years. Man.
He also had one against Tebow.
Yeah, I remember that.
They still show that clip.
I was at that game.
Me too.
Why can't I remember? I'm so bad at names, dude. I don't know why I said Chad Bumpus. I feel stupid. I'm gonna edit that out. No, I'm not. What's his name? Dude, I know his name.
Number 13.
Number 13. Literally, he was my favorite player for a long time. What's his last name?
Banks.
Jonathan Banks.
Yep.
Okay, gosh, I hate myself.
One of the best corners I've ever watched play.
I was there.
State.
I was at the game. He picked six Tim Tebow.
Yep.
I was at the game. He got that pick six against South Alabama.
Oh, that was the time we beat South Alabama. That's not the time we lost South Alabama.
Bro, that pick six against Alabama though, he literally caught the dude's helmet in the process of catching that ball.
I remember that play.
He was so good.
He was.
Dude, I mean, coaches at New Hope now. So, kind of my high school's rival school. I don't really care about my high school sports, though. But, all right, my last one, and this is the one I think I might stump you on.
Okay.
He's one of the best defensive ends in all of college football history. He's a two-time All-American, and my final hint, the Outback Bowl.
Jadeveon Clowney.
Dang it, yeah, Jadeveon Clowney.
That hit. I mean, how can you forget the hit?
That's probably the biggest hit in college football history.
And then, it wasn't even the hit. My favorite part was, instead of just picking the ball up, he just stabbed it with one hand and picked. Dude was a monster.
He was so good.
In college he's still playing in the NFL right now.
The Browns right now.
Yeah, I mean, he has not been as productive as he was in the early parts of his career, but
he was insane in college, dude. I remember Mississippi State played against him one year, and I was so scared to death of oh gosh, he's going to kill our quarterback.
I remember that was a close game too.
12-14 was the final score.
I know there was a safety in there.
They ran the clock out by running the ball back in the
end zone. That was the one thing I can remember. Is it was one of the few times I've ever seen a safety in real life.
That was when South Carolina was still a top 15 team.
They had Alshon Jeffrey. I remember because that's how they scored their last touchdown. Was basically just throw it up to Alshon Jeffrey. And
that was a good game.
Another beast in college.
Really, another Dan Mullen choke. There was a lot of those.
Yeah.
But, all right, go ahead.
All right, my last and final one. He's my personal favorite running back of all time. Okay? He finished second in the Heisman voting as a freshman in 2004. So this is an older guy, but you'll know him. He was the number one prospect in his class that year as well.
Okay.
In 04.
04. I have a name in my mind, but I'm not sure.
Other hints can I give you?
Where did he play?
Oklahoma.
Not who I was thinking of then. I'm not going to know.
Adrian Peterson. Dude was an animal in college, and then with the Vikings, he was. I loved watching him play with Brett Favre with the Vikings.
Yeah, that's my only memories of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah,
I saw him play in person with the Vikings when I was, I want to say 8. I went to I went to a Saints game. It was my cousin Sam's birthday present. He got 4 tickets and he took me. And the final score I remember was 10-3. The Saints won.
Wow.
And I was a huge Brett Favre fan at the time.
I was too.
I was actually pulling for the Vikings.
Me too. I was a Vikings fan for a while with Brett Favre and Adrian Peterson.
I was too. That was the first NFL team I was a fan of.
And I never got to actually watch Adrian Peterson in college. I've just watched highlight tapes of him in college, and man, he was,
sure he was, man.
He finished second in the Heisman voting. And I was thinking, that was probably his junior or senior, the year before he went to the NFL.
Yeah.
No, that was his freshman year. He rushed for almost 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
He had over 1,900. He was over 1,000 yards every season, but he never came close to that 1,900 that he had his freshman year. Dude was an animal. Just college, pro, anytime.
Well, congratulations, JJ. You won.
Thank you.
We'll
hopefully find some more kind of games and just little things we can do to just have some fun on the show. And then
I still can't believe I forgot Jonathan Banks' name.
Yeah, that one was a lob.
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot his name. And then I wish I would have stuck with Chad Bumpus on the first one.
Let's kind of switch gears, talking about baseball here.
Yep.
So, like Caleb said earlier, it's starting to feel like October. We're getting down to, really seeing what the playoff bracket is going to kind of shape up to be. So,
bro, there's some tight races, man.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and just since our first episode when we covered these, there have been some swift changes.
Do you want to start with the AL East?
Let's just go AL East, AL Central, AL West, and then same order for the National League.
First things first. Since the trade deadline, the Yankees have not been good.
3-7 in their last 10 is what it says.
They've lost 4 out of their last 5 games.
Yeah. Got
swept by the Cardinals, including lost to their former pitcher who they had just traded at the deadline, Jordan Montgomery. Things are starting to look up. They beat the Mariners in Game 1, but last night, dude, probably the best game I've watched all year. Mm-hmm. One of the best MLB games I've watched in my lifetime. I took a picture of the pitching stats for the starters that I'm going to pull up because that game was incredible. It went to 13 innings. The final score was 1-0. The Mariners won. It was Garrett Cole versus Luis Castillo in his Mariners debut. Cole went 7 innings, allowed 4 hits, no runs, 8 strikeouts, no walks. Castillo went 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 7 strikes, 2 walks. Absolutely, it was the most insane game I'd ever watched.
What was the final of that game?
1-0.
Yankees?
No, Mariners.
Mariners
pulled it out in 13 innings.
My boy J-Rod.
J-Rod didn't play.
Dang it.
Yeah.
That would have been the only reason I'd ever watched the Mariners.
Yeah.
So.
Adam Frazier, though, he made a crazy good play at second base. Would have probably given the Yankees the lead because they had Castro on second, and Glaber hit a hot shot up above second base, and Adam Frazier leaped up. Made a great catch, got a double play.
Oh, boy, Adam.
So, but the Yankees have not been looking that good since the deadline.
I would say a lot of that is, I really think the Yankees could have done more at the deadline.
I do too. A lot of people were expecting them to do that. I don't think the Yankees had a horrible trade deadline.
Right. I don't think they had to, but I think they definitely could have done a little bit.
They had to get their bullpen some more help considering the injuries they've had. They got rid of Joey Gallo.
Yeah.
I don't know why they traded Montgomery away. He was one of their better consistent pitchers. They got Benintendi, which is a position they needed to fill.
Right.
But this just is not what you expect the Yankees to do. They have Stanton still hurt. Rizzo's going to return tonight. But I just don't – I'm looking at them, and I just don't think they're going to take August that seriously. I think they're just going to ride out August until they get to September.
Which, with the 10.5 game lead, the Yankees can –
They
got room, but
I just wish they wouldn't because the Astros. If you want that 1 seed, the Astros are like a game behind you right now as terms of
they're tied right now.
They're tied. Never mind. So
they're both 71 and 40.
So, and I know the Astros, I think, won the series when they played.
And I'm really the Astros went out and got Troy Mancini.
That was a good trade for them, man. The Yankees need to buckle up because they have a great chance at the World Series this year. They have the talent. They have the personality in the dugout that they need. There's still 50 games left in the season.
Right.
I mean, teams can catch up to you. Mm-hmm. It's not likely, but it can happen. And the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Orioles are all very close right now. I'm pretty sure the Rays and the Orioles are tied.
The Rays are 12 games back, and the Orioles are 12 and a half back.
The Orioles, I know.
And the Blue Jays are only 10 and a half back.
The Blue Jays just lost to the Orioles last night. The Orioles scored 2 runs in the 8th.
The Orioles are 7-3 in their last 10 games.
They're hot, dude. And the fact that we're talking about the Orioles possibly making the wild card right now is insane. But the Orioles are playing great baseball right now. As for the Red Sox and the AL East, I don't see them making a wild card.
Look,
they started out the season way too bad. They've gotten hot recently, or not recently, but in the past couple of months, they've won a good bit of games. But this is not the year for them.
Talking about the Orioles, this is something crazy to think about. Put the Orioles in the AL Central. And they're leading the division right now.
Yeah, I know.
But they're 4th in the AL East.
It's great for the Orioles.
Another one of my favorite young players, Adley Rutschman, plays for the Orioles.
Mm-hmm. So, who's their catcher is that him?
Adley Rutschman, yeah.
I like watching him play. I think the Yankees still win the division.
Yeah.
I think they'll finish second in the AL. I think the Astros will finish ahead of them, but
I can see that.
I'm rooting for the Orioles to make the wild card.
I'd love to see the Orioles in the playoffs.
It's possible that we're going to have an all AL East wild card again, simply because if we can move it to the Central, that's fine with you, JJ. like JJ said, the Orioles are ahead of every team in the Central right now. So the Twins, the Guardians, the White Sox are really the only threats there right now. And they're all going to be fighting for the division win because I think they all know that they're not going to make a wild card.
I mean, it's not out of the question that a Twins or a Guardians or even the White Sox could make the wild card, but I honestly think if they would be in the spot to win the wild card, they're going to win that division.
Yeah.
Just because there's nobody separating themselves in that division, and they're not. I mean, they're all right above 500.
Yeah, obviously the Royals and the Tigers are out for this year.
Yeah.
They're not going to make it into the playoffs. I think the Twins are the better team in that division.
Twins and the Guardians are tied for the division right now at 57 and 52, and then the White Sox are a game and a half back.
I see the Twins winning that division. I don't see the Guardians or the White Sox making the wild card. That's just me. But, of course, whatever team wins that division is obviously making the playoffs. The other two teams...
I think only one team out of the Central gets in.
Yeah.
And I think right now in the wild card spot are the Blue Jays and the Mariners.
Yeah.
I could very well see that being how it ends.
I don't think the Blue Jays get in the wild card. I think they're going to get past. That's just me, though. But the Mariners are also in a close race for the wild card because I don't think they're going to catch up to the Astros before the season ends in the AL West. So, but the Mariners do have a great chance at the wild card. They're playing great baseball right now. It's just going to be a matter of, who.
As much as I didn't like the Luis Castillo trade,
he showed out.
He's a very good player. I just did not like the amount that the Mariners gave up to get him. I thought they way overpaid. Mm-hmm. They made a trade to me that would be like something the Yankees would do this year to win the World Series. I don't think adding Luis Castillo makes them World Series contenders. I think it makes them playoff contenders, maybe even could win a series in the playoffs. But that's as far as it would go. That's why I didn't love that trade. But
I do think, seeing how the Mariners and the Yankees have been playing in their current series, if the Mariners can get out of the wild card, I think they have a solid chance of making a run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There are two teams, I think, that could potentially make it to the World Series out of the wild card. It's the Mariners and another team in the NL who is probably going to make the wild card and has a chance to get out of there make the World Series.
Just wanted to make this point too. Looking at the last 10 games out of the American League, it is so tight. I mean, you've got, out of the 15 teams in the American League, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are at 5-5 in the last 10, and then there's 4 that are 6-4. So I mean, the opportunity for somebody to either stretch their lead or gain a lead is there, but one of these teams just got to get hot. And
right now, that's the Orioles, man.
Right now it is, but they're also a little further back than some of these other teams. But they keep playing like that. It's nowhere near insurmountable. I mean,
I can see. I think the Orioles make the wild card, man.
Really?
I really do. I'm hoping for it.
I would love to see it happen. I don't know if I'm there to the point of saying that I think it would happen. It's going to happen, but
there's just some magic, man. A go-ahead hit in the bottom of the 8th against the I think it was the Blue Jays. Man, I mean, there's just something about this Orioles team that I like. Obviously, I don't think they get out the wild card if they make it to the wild card. But in a few years, man, if they make the right moves, they can be a powerhouse in the AL.
You got to think, John Means is hurt. He's not been pitching this year. Mm-hmm. You never know. I think the Orioles have a bright future.
Yeah.
I like where the Tigers are heading. I mean, I think there are some of these teams that have a pretty good future. It's just
not this year.
Not this year.
I want to mention one more thing about the Yankees. They are a little banged up right now, but if they get Stanton and Rizzo back, I don't think that gap closes. Rizzo's back tonight. If Stanton gets back before the end of the year, I don't think that gap closes.
If Rizzo and Stanton come back and are playing how they played at the beginning of the year.
But you got their lineup right now is just not what you would want it to be playing, because you are missing 2 great power bats. Like Benintendi was batting third last night. He should never be. He's a contact batter. He should never be batting third.
Right.
And LeMahieu, the leadoff guy, it's either him or Benintendi who should be leadoff. I will say LeMahieu has more walks than strikeouts this year. Mariners struck him out twice in extra innings last night.
Wow.
So it was just that crazy of a game. Anyways, getting off that game.
Let's move to the NL.
Starting with the East, the Mets still have the lead, and they have been hot here recently.
Right.
But the Braves have closed the gap from where it was earlier in the year.
From where it was earlier in the year, but the Braves they just dropped a series to New York, and that hurt because they were I want to say 4 to 4.5 games back. They're now 7 games back, which once again is not a huge deficit, but and I think even like I said earlier, if the Braves don't win the division, I think they make the wild card.
Yeah,
but
that's what
the Phillies
are insanely hot right
are
now.
9-1 in their last 10.
They're insanely hot right
and
now, man.
The gap between the Braves and the Phillies is only 3 games, and that's probably going to be your wild card race.
Yeah, I know. Not to mention the Padres.
You
can't forget about the Padres over in the West.
So I think that's probably your it's basically boiled down to a 3-horse race there for the wild card in the NL.
I would say 4-way because you got to look at the Brewers and the Cardinals in the Central. Because whoever loses that division, I think, is in the wild card race.
Yeah, but I think they're a little bit. Either one of those are a little bit behind.
Mm-hmm.
The
Cardinals
the 3
are hot, though.
Cardinals are very hot as well. See, the difference between the NL and the AL right now are there are teams there were no teams that were standing out as really hot, have won quite a few games here recently in the AL, whereas the NL, you've got the Mets who are 8-2 in the last 10. Phillies are 9-1 in the last 10. Cardinals are 8-2 in the last 10. Dodgers are 9-1 in the last 10, which you didn't need that, but
was it 21 games ahead of the
they're
Dodgers?
16 now.
I don't know what I got. That's still a lot.
I mean,
and I'll be real. Looking at the NL West, the Padres aren't closing that gap, even with Juan Soto and Josh.
They aren't closing the gap to win the division.
But if they make the wild card, they're the team with the Mariners, I think, who can make a run to the World Series out of the wild card.
Yeah, they have the team.
Yeah.
I'd love to see. That's why I'm saying next year, if the Padres can hold on to these pieces that they've gotten at the trade deadline, I'd love to see what this team could do in a full season.
Yeah, it'd be exciting to watch for sure.
So we'll just have to see what happens there. I don't know if they'll be able to pay everybody what they need to be able to pay them.
Not one. I don't think they have the money to get Juan Soto that big of a contract unless he's willing to take less.
And
money.
they're already paying Tatis.
Crap ton of money
to not play.
Yeah.
But he still hadn't played this year. I don't think. Not in the bigs. I think I saw where he started his rehab assignment finally.
Right.
And then the NL Central.
Yeah. It's a lot like the AL Central.
It's that the teams are the 2 teams that are in it have a little bit better record, but yes, I see where you're.
Yeah, it's like
the Central.
The Central's having 1 team in the playoffs,
right?
While the other 2 divisions could possibly have 2 or more.
And I mean, it's not like in the AL. I'd say the AL Central is going to have 1 team regardless.
Yeah.
NL Central, I could see the other team making a wild card.
I could see the Brewers or the Cardinals getting in there for sure.
But it would be tough. For both of them to get hot and play as well, for one of them to win the division and then the other one to be in the wild card.
I don't see the Phillies slowing down anytime soon. I don't see the Braves really losing.
I see the Braves getting better.
Yeah, the Mets aren't gonna. I really hope they do, but I don't think they are gonna slow down.
And the Mets have the second best record in the entire league right now. I did not realize that.
Mad.
Dodgers, of course, have. The Mets are 72-39.
Yeah.
Whereas the Yankees are 71-40.
Yeah. And then of course the Dodgers have the best lead. The Dodgers are going to win the whole thing, I think. But
I don't know. That's been the easy pick for years, but somebody always ends up. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
They very well could. I'm not saying that. And they would probably be my pick if I had to pick somebody, but baseball's baseball.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed watching the AL more than the NL, just because I'm a Yankees fan. I like the AL teams more. But the NL is going to be a very fun and interesting fight for the playoffs, because other than the Dodgers, you got a bunch of teams who could win their division, or a bunch of teams who are going to be fighting for
the division races are
still going. Unlike the NL, where you have the Yankees and the Astros, and then whoever's going to win the Central. all of these divisions other than the NL West are still up for grabs, I think.
Right.
And then, the Braves, the Mets, the Phillies, the Cardinals, and the Brewers and the Padres are all going to be fighting for a spot in the playoffs. The only team I would say that has it, for sure, is the Dodgers.
And, we'll just have to see, because the Brewers, I love their pitching in general, but the offense is very, very inconsistent. You got a lot of power bats in the offense, which, in my opinion, when you're building a baseball team and your offense is mainly just power bats, you're either that's the recipe for an inconsistent offense, because you've got boom or bust. So if you're hitting home runs, you're going to be winning. But if you're not making contact, you're not getting people on base, it's a lot harder to score. You've got to be hitting home runs. Mm-hmm. And that makes it tough. So
my thing with the Brewers is that the Cardinals have been a team this year that have gotten red hot and then ice cold.
Yeah.
If the Cardinals can get ice cold and the Brewers can stay somewhat consistent, the Brewers can pass.
The Brewers are the more consistent team just because of their pitching staff. I mean, that pitching staff is going to bring consistency.
That's why that Cardinals trade for Jordan Montgomery was so good, because Jordan Montgomery is such a consistent pitcher.
Right.
He's not a guaranteed win, but if your bats can get going a little bit, then you're going to get more wins.
And all you gave up basically was a dude that you don't even know if he's going to be back this year.
And you still got Dakota Hudson pitching.
Mm-hmm.
And you just swept the Yankees, who were one of the best teams in the league.
Baseball.
I could be wrong, but I don't think the Yankees had gotten swept this year. They've lost some series. I'm not sure if they've gotten swept, and if they have, it was early in the beginning of the year. So this is that's a big series win or big sweep for the Cardinals, and you got the pitching now to go out and win a good bit of games. You just got to stay consistent and
do something with it.
Yeah, I will say I do think that sadly I don't see the Yankees making the World Series this year. I just see them choking. I hate that. I want the Yankees to win the whole thing. Obviously, I'm just skeptical. Because
who do you have?
Astros and the Dodgers. Just because the Astros have gotten hot at the right time. They had a great deadline. And man, seeing how the Mariners are playing. Let's say the Mariners go to the wild card and the Yankees do have the 1 seed. I could see the Mariners beating the Yankees in a series. Seeing how they're playing currently right now.
I'd love to say no. I wouldn't love to say it, but I don't think, just like with the Yankees, I think the Mets will choke at some point.
Probably. That's what they do.
The Dodgers
not
have to be the favorite to come out of the NL.
Absolutely. I mean,
AL, you got Yankees and Astros, but
that's just how I'm just saying it like I see it, dude. I really hope. I would rather the Yankees get the 2nd seed and not have to play a wild card winner, either the Mariners or one of the other AL East teams that they like to play against. I'd rather see them play the Twins or the Guardians or the White Sox.
Yeah.
Win the 2nd seed, man. I'll be real. But we'll see how the teams fall and what goes on.
The White Sox have surprised me, because I really thought they'd be a pretty good team this year, but just injuries. Yeah. They've struggled. They really struggled with injuries. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of our baseball talk for the week. We're going to definitely be keeping an eye on everything as we are getting closer to October. But football season is starting, so we've actually had a game. The Hall of Fame game was played the other night. Preseason game, so,
not much you can tell.
Not much you can tell. Not very exciting, really, either. Wasn't a great game, but it's football. Football's football. Anytime you can sit there and watch football, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. So, it was a very dominant performance by the Raiders.
Jarrett Stidham, baby.
Yeah.
Man, that's I have a few notes here. Jarrett Stidham's the main guy I want to talk about. I love Jarrett Stidham. He's always been a guy that beats the odds. He was a scout team quarterback in college. He walked on to Auburn, beat Alabama, and 8 for 15, 96 yards and a rushing touchdown. For how many quarters did he play? 1.5.
Yeah.
Great numbers. I'm proud of Jarrett Stidham, man. I know it's preseason, but go Jarrett.
He's a great backup quarterback, I think, in the NFL. He struggled at times being consistent at Auburn, but was very good when he was at Baylor. Once he transferred to Auburn, it was kind of shaky at times. You saw flashes of greatness, and then you saw. I remember he played a game against Mississippi State, probably his senior year, where they just got flattened.
Yeah. He's a guy though. I respect him, and he can take a hit.
He's a big dude.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, there's some consistency issues, but I think he's a great backup quarterback.
I think he's
He's a guy that I don't think the Raiders are a threat to win anything this year. I think
you got Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs. You've got an offense. It's going to be if the defense can step up.
I was looking at their odds to win the Super Bowl earlier. They're 15th in the league. They could make a playoff run. I don't see them winning the Super Bowl or anything.
I think that is.
It's a team that, let's say Derek Carr goes down and Jarrett Stidham has to step in. I still see them winning a couple of games with them.
The AFC West is the best division in football this year.
Yeah.
In the NFL, you've got the Chiefs, you've got the Chargers, you've got the Raiders, even the Broncos with Russell Wilson now. There's not a weak spot there.
Yeah.
Any of those teams, I could make a case for. Winning some playoff games. Raiders, you got Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, who were amazing together at Fresno State in college.
Absolutely.
You've got Russell Wilson, coming in to play quarterback for the Broncos. So, he can. They've already got a great defense there and have for a while. So, really, all they've been missing the past few years since Peyton Manning left was a quarterback.
Now they got one.
And a good
one, man.
And then the Chargers, they're a very, very good team.
Mm-hmm.
Could possibly be a Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion. Justin Herbert, you've got Derwin James, Keenan Allen.
I like
Austin
the Chargers,
Eckler.
But like you said, this division is just so tough.
This division is tough.
I don't see the Chargers. I can see them wild card. I don't see them winning the division. I don't see them winning playoff games this year. I think they're still a couple moves away, getting players wise for.
Maybe
for that. But that's just me, and I could be wrong. The NFL is not my strong suit. I'll point that out there. So
so the AFC West is very good.
Yeah.
Jimmy G and San Francisco. If I personally was Coach Kyle Shanahan was coaching the 49ers, I'd be starting Jimmy G. Jimmy G is Jimmy G. Okay. I don't know why I was saying it so quickly, but Jimmy Garoppolo is a I'd say one of the better quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion.
Do you think he's top 15?
Yeah, I'd put him top 15. I wouldn't put him top 10. I think he gives them a better chance to win than Trey Lance does.
I'd agree with that.
Everybody talks about the plays Trey Lance has made in practice.
Making him in a game, dude.
And I haven't seen them, but even at North Dakota State, he had played. I don't even think he played a full season.
Yeah, the thing with Trey Lance is the 49ers are basically saying we are going to build with this guy. He's going to get better. We're going to get better around him. I don't think, but if you want to win right now, I would agree. Jimmy G is the better option.
And Jimmy G, how many 3 years ago took him to a Super Bowl?
Yeah,
and they were in the NFC Championship game last year with Jimmy G as their quarterback. Mm-hmm. I don't see why the 49ers could. I don't see how they could move on from him. That's me. Also, I want to open that up to where's he going to go now? The 49ers don't have much trade leverage, honestly, with him because other teams know the 49ers have to get rid of him, so they're not going to get the return that they want.
Sure.
But also, I don't know if you can keep Jimmy G in the locker room without playing him.
Here's the thing. When Trey Lance gets hurt or chokes, Jimmy G will go back in.
But if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, do you really want to be
a
backup quarterback at this point?
You don't want to, but what choice do you have sometimes?
But as in the 49ers coaching staff and front office, you've got to think that affects your locker room.
Oh, for sure. It does. obviously Jimmy G has been with this team. He's been winning with this team.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically they're saying, like, we have faith in this guy. Your time is up. Obviously that's going to affect him.
Right.
But
it's going to affect others around him, too.
I could see it being like a thing where, all right, I'm going to prove you wrong. And when he gets his chance to go out there, he can start winning some games. And then when he becomes a free agent, he can have his own leverage then. But, I mean, it's just a matter of he doesn't have the control right now as much as where he ends up because that's in the
No, he doesn't. Plan. But I would say, looking at it from the 49ers perspective, I honestly think if you aren't able to trade him before the season starts, you've got to just cut him at this point. Because I just don't see how... I mean, there's so many problems that could create because you could have... There will be players on the team that think, why is Jimmy not starting over Trey Lance? And then say Trey Lance loses a game or two and doesn't play well, or they win a close game and Trey Lance didn't play well. There's going to be people on the team thinking, why do we have this guy that's won games for us in the past sitting on the bench over here and not playing? So I really think looking at... it benefits...
But in the same way, what if they cut Jimmy G and then Trey Lance is losing games or not playing well? What the team's going to say? Why do we cut the guy who was winning
Well, they
games
basically come out and said at this point, Trey Lance is the guy, even if he's not playing well at the beginning of the season.
And that's stupid. But, you know, in terms of the locker room situation,
right.
I don't think cutting Jimmy G solves that because you're still going to have guys saying, we cut the guy who was winning games for us.
Yeah, but at least he's not sitting there in the locker room with you.
I mean,
I think the best scenario for Jimmy G is the Seahawks because they don't have a quarterback. But 49ers are not going to trade him in the division to the Seahawks.
Probably not.
And help the Seahawks. I mean, they're just not. That's not, that hurts them even more.
Yeah.
So, and then, I mean, when you're looking at who else needs a quarterback, the Browns probably need a quarterback for this year.
They wasted all that money.
And then, but really, a lot of these other teams have filled their quarterback spot. Carolina got Baker. Atlanta drafted Desmond Ridder.
They also have
Mariota. So, I mean...
The Colts got Matt Ryan.
Jets, Zach Wilson, you got to give him at least another year. I'd say even longer.
Dude, that dude cracks me up.
Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence that played last season, he is... I don't know if Jacksonville is the situation for him.
It's not. Listen, but here's the deal with Trevor Lawrence. That dude has been on a winning team his entire life.
Yeah.
From high school to his freshman year at Clemson. And then he started losing. And now he's in a situation he's on a bad franchise. The Jaguars have not been a good franchise for a long time. Their second best player behind Trevor Lawrence is Logan Cook, the punter. It's not going to be a good situation for him, and they've got to build something around him. He is not going to be able... I think Trevor Lawrence could be one of the best NFL quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah.
He is
He's got the talent. You saw that at Clemson.
He's got plenty of talent. He is an NFL-style quarterback, but you look at some of the
He's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch,
yeah.
Period, when he was at Clemson.
You want to look at some of the most highly scouted players from college to the NFL, Andrew Luck. Right. Didn't go well for him in Indianapolis. Matthew Stafford, it didn't go well for him until he got out of Detroit. It's possible that Trevor Lawrence may just have to wait until
Andrew Luck did have a few good years in Indianapolis.
He had a few good years, but not what he was expected to do. He was supposed
Injuries derailed a lot of that.
They did, but he was supposed to be the guy to win this team Super Bowls. And, injuries, things didn't go his way. Indianapolis really, once again, not that great of a franchise, which is why Peyton Manning wanted out of there.
Indianapolis in the early 2000s was one of the best franchises in the league.
For a few years, but overall,
when you had Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne...
Yeah.
But I get your point.
Yeah. You just got Trevor Lawrence. He's got to hope that the Jaguars can build around him, and if they can't, and make a good coaching hire, we'll see how it works out, or you've got to wait until your contract's up and you're going to have to find a new place to go.
Yeah, I think
the Jaguars aren't it, man.
Yeah, last year his struggles, I wouldn't blame as much on him as I would his situation. You know, as a rookie quarterback, you had two coaches, and your coach, the coach that is there when you start, gets fired midway through the season.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a crazy situation.
Let's look at it this way, right? Dak Prescott's rookie year, he gets put into a situation with a great offensive line, great talent around him, and he has an incredibly good year. If Trevor Lawrence was in that situation,
right,
I think he shows out.
Yeah.
But he's in the situation he is. And, you know, I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is better than Dak Prescott, but
I'd definitely say he has the skill to be.
He has the potential to be, for sure. And, you know, Dak Prescott hasn't had a great year like that since. He's had good years, but not a fantastic, great year. And Trevor Lawrence is on a bad team, a bad franchise, who's, once again, their second best player is Logan Cook, the punter.
Right.
Like, he's just got to, like, be patient, or he's got to get out. Those are his two options.
Yeah. So, since you brought up Dak, I wanted to talk about this, too. I was sitting at the barbershop waiting to get my haircut this morning, and they had ESPN on the TVs, and they were talking about, and I thought this was a great topic for us to talk about. For the Cowboys, who do you think has to have the better season and carry the Cowboys, Dak or the defense? Because you look at that offense, it is the offensive line is not what he had. I mean, he went from, you had 3 All-Pro linemen and 2 very solid starters his rookie year. You had Zach Martin on the line, Travis Frederick at center, Tyron Smith, a healthy Tyron Smith. Now your pass protection is not there.
Nope.
Let's look at his receiving core. Amari Cooper traded. All they got was a 5th-round pick from the Browns. That was a steal. I don't know. I think, you know, the Cowboys probably should have tried to do more to keep him, but
Jerry Jones is stupid, man.
Yeah.
He's not a good owner.
It would have been expensive. I don't know what their cap situation was like, so
Jerry Jones needs to hire a GM who knows what he's doing. Jerry Jones, own the team, sit back in your suite, watch it work out. You don't know football enough, and it's proven. It's been proven, man. I mean, let's be real. I love Tony Romo, right? He was a great quarterback, but he was injury prone towards the end of his career, and he wasn't playing that well. And when he got hurt again, and Dak Prescott was showing out, you were the one who said, that's Tony Romo's spot. You are a guy who's all about relationships, and you care more about being in control of somebody than letting your team win. That's why you hired Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones is not a good owner. He is not a good GM for sure, and he would have been fired. If he was a GM and not an owner, he would have been fired.
I wouldn't say he's not a good owner.
I mean, sure. I mean, they're the most profitable team in the NFL for a reason. He's not a good GM.
Yeah.
Hire a GM. You worry about the business stuff because that's what you're good at.
So let's think about. He's also his receiving core. You got Michael Gallup, who's hurt. Ezekiel Elliott has looked, I'll say,
less than great.
Less than great for the past few years. In training camp, he's looked very large, to put it nicely.
Very large, yeah. You still got C.D. Lamb, who's a
from the videos I've seen, he does not look like the Zeke he was. So then you've got the question of, is it time to let Tony Pollard be the feature back? Maybe. So you've got CeeDee Lamb as your basically only receiving weapon. You've got a running back question as to, are you going to get Ezekiel Elliott that you had your first few years? Or are you going to finally have a new guy basically take over the featured role? You know, there's so many questions on that offense that Dak is he's got to play well, basically. Your defense, you have a pretty good core on your defense around you. Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, even though he is, I wouldn't say he's a great corner, he creates turnovers. So, he's not a great coverage man.
If he's not creating turnovers, he's getting burned.
He's getting beat. So, which there is a value for that. Do I think he is one of the best corners in the league and a true number 1 corner? No. I like him more as a number 2 corner. A guy that'll match up with a second or third receiver on the other team. And then he can create turnovers, but not be getting beat by the other team's best receiver, basically. But so that brings, what's more important for the Cowboys this year? Dak's play or the defense? I'd say Dak.
I agree.
Because Dak's got to have a year like one of his first years.
He's got to prove that without that great of a lineup that he can go out there and perform. Not necessarily win, right? He's got to win a few games, obviously.
Yeah.
He's got to make the playoffs as the Dallas Cowboys.
He needs to win a playoff game or two.
He needs to go out there, and he's got to show that he has the arm talent, that he has the mobility, and that he can make plays and get things done.
And that's another stat that they brought up, too, that I didn't realize. I realized why it is, but last year, out of the whole season, Dak rushed for a first down 7 times. The years prior to that, at least 94 times.
Listen,
And a lot of that comes from the injury.
Yeah,
I know better than anybody. When you come back from an injury, there's a mental part of that you have to learn to get over. But when you're getting paid $40 million a year, you got to find a way to get through that and be your mobile self, and because that's what makes him such a great quarterback. Is yes, he can throw the ball very well, but he could run guys over.
Yeah, he's
got to get back to that point. Like that stiff arm. I don't know if I've ever seen a quarterback have a stiff arm like Dak Prescott.
Never. Man.
So he's got to get back to that.
If you can lead Mississippi State to being the number 1 team in the country, I don't see how you can't lead the Cowboys to a playoffs victory. Like, I know that's college football, that's different athletes, the NFL is the NFL, but like...
I think he needs to...
He's
got to win playoff games this year.
Yeah.
And to do that, he's going to have to carry that offense. He's going to have an amazing season, like he did his rookie year, to have that. I mean, and he's got to stay healthy as well. That's another big thing. He needs to play every game.
Yes.
And be as close to 100% as anybody in the league. So I think a lot of the Cowboys' success is going to be on how well Dak Prescott plays.
It will be. And, obviously we're rooting for Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I hate when anybody bashes him. I remember...
I'd still say there are people that don't have him in the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL.
I disagree with that. I think he's a top 10 quarterback.
7th or 8th best quarterback in the NFL.
I would agree with that. He's a top 10 quarterback, but
he's got... As much as I've taken up for Dak...
He's got to prove he's a leader.
As much as I've taken up for Dak throughout his career, and still do, it's time. He's got to win playoff games this year. He hadn't done that in the past, and he's got to do that. And he's not young anymore. He played 4 years of college, and I think redshirted a year. So
and he has had a very gruesome injury.
Right, he doesn't have the career span that some of these guys that true freshmen start, sophomore, junior, go in the draft, come into the NFL at 22. I think he was 24 his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting close to 30 at this point.
Right.
The time for him to win playoff games and contend for a Super Bowl and even maybe win a Super Bowl is now, because the mobility, especially after the injury, is just going to get worse with age.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of his game. So, I think a lot of the Cowboys' success is going to be all about how Dak plays. I think, all these years leading up to it, we've put the blame on the defense.
We have.
Well, now they've got a defense that is at least serviceable. I mean, they are a top half of the league defense.
Mm-hmm.
To where if you can go out and put the offensive numbers up that you did earlier in your career, you should have a Super Bowl contending team. But you've got to do that your part along with this defense.
Yeah.
So
I agree, man.
I think I'm going to be very interested to see how the Cowboys are. Their division is better. Still not good, but better.
Than guys, man.
If you don't come out and play the Eagles, the Commanders, both of those two teams.
The Cowboys should never lose that division.
Right now, at least, no.
Right now, they should never lose that division. They should win the division, but then once you win the division, you got to win a playoff game.
Yeah, and I could say very well see the Eagles or the Commanders winning 9 or 10 games, So the Cowboys are going to have to win more than 9 or 10 games.
I agree.
The Cowboys probably need to win at least 11 or 12 regular season games, in my opinion. So they're going to be a team to watch this year, I think. Yeah. Let's kind of jump ship just a little bit. We'll talk about some basketball news. That's very slow right now, but normally at least there's a big story going on.
There is.
So I'll let you go ahead because I know you've got a whole bunch to say about it.
First off, let's give a quick timeline. Kevin Durant leaves the Thunder, requests a trade, goes to the Warriors. Everyone calls that man a snake. Russell Westbrook calls him weak. And listen, I was mad about it because I was like, they already have Steph, they already have Clay. Like, this is just a super team that's going to be unstoppable. And they basically were until injuries caught up to them.
Yeah.
Right? But I didn't say KD was a snake or weak. I was like, look, the man's getting up there in age. He wants a ring. He's going to obviously...
And we've seen it proven. Anybody that's playing with Russell Westbrook is not going to win a ring.
Yeah. I wasn't really as upset as most people were. I thought the snake talks were a little too much. I was like, okay, let him get his ring. All right. Then he goes to the Brooklyn Nets, right?
He should have... I'm going to jump in and say this. The Warriors offered him basically the same amount of money and same contract that the Nets did, but he turned it down and went to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
He should have stayed in Golden State at that point.
He wanted to prove that he could win, that he could lead and win a championship. And I'll be real. That was Steph Curry's team. Both years they won.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that wasn't KD's team. I think KD wanted to prove he could have a team and he could lead them to a championship, which he failed to do.
Yeah, we see how that turned out.
Listen, now here's a quick, ever since the end of this past season, here's a quick timeline for the Nets. Kyrie elects to use his player option to return to the Nets. And
at that point, we had heard KD was wanting to stay with the Nets with Kyrie, was the report at that time. But Kyrie was looking to probably decline his player option at the time.
Yeah.
Well, Kyrie opts in, and so we think,
everything's good.
We'll see this.
And then KD decides a few days later he wants to request a trade.
Right.
Now, it was reported by Woj that the Nets GM Sean Marks was working to find a trade, and KD's top 2 teams on his wish list were Phoenix or Miami, but it was also reported that the Nets didn't really care about his wish list. They were going to find the deal that was best for them because you're trading your superstar, who's one of the best offensive players the league has ever seen, who still has 4 years on his contract. So, I don't blame the Nets there. That's what they should do. KD has 4 years left on his contract. That's a lot of money. In the James Harden trade, I don't think you really got as much as you gave there.
Right.
You got Ben Simmons. You traded your whole future for James Harden, your entire bench for James Harden. When you originally got him, you have to get something back like that.
And I think, every team in front office at this point that has a superstar that wants to be traded, you shouldn't feel like you have to trade him to wherever he wants.
Yeah.
It should be up to you. I don't think... Yeah. I hate this, that it's become basically a norm for if the superstar wants to be traded, he's going to give you the teams he would be okay with, and you have to trade him to those teams.
Yeah, it's stupid
in all the sports, it's like that. And, I think as a GM, you got to look at... if I can get the best offer from one of these teams, that's of course my first option.
Yeah.
But if I get a better offer from a team that's not on your list, that's your problem, not mine.
Let's be real. It was obvious they weren't going to trade to Phoenix unless Devin Booker was involved.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else Phoenix has that can offer you that's even close to the equivalent. And Phoenix made it very clear D-Book is their guy.
Yeah.
He's been built.
That's good. That's what I would say.
D-Book's the guy you've been building around for years. He is a great young player. I don't blame them for that. And then Miami said there was a trade package revolved around Tyler Hero. Now let me get something straight. I love Tyler Hero. I love the way he plays. He's a great role. He's one of the best role players in the NBA today. He can make shots if you need him to. He can drive. He knows how to move the ball.
He's a great starter.
He's a great starter. He's a great sixth man, and he can do things you need him to do.
Yeah.
But if you're trading for Kevin Durant and your package is revolved around him, it's not going to work because Tyler Hero and KD. Let's be real.
Yeah, but how many picks do you think were in that? How many?
I'm sure a good amount of picks, but what they need are like more than that, man.
Yeah.
For a guy who has 4 years left on his contract, you need guys now because when you're losing KD, you don't have any other options left to help Kyrie. And Kyrie's had shown that he can't lead the team to a championship because he couldn't do it in Boston with Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
And here's what happened recently. The news that came out that made me crazy mad and now has given me the narrative that Kevin Durant is weak and Kevin Durant is a snake. KD, first off, he was the person that got Steve Nash hired. Kevin Durant was the person that got the Nets to trade everything, their entire future, for James Harden because he said him, Kyrie, and James could win a championship. And none of that worked out. James Harden left. He made it very clear he did not want to be in Brooklyn anymore. And no, you did not win. And your foot was too long to win against the Bucks. Okay? KD gives the Nets an ultimatum. Says it's either me or you get rid of Steve Nash and Sean Marks. The coach you wanted there. Now, I love Steve Nash as a player, and I'll agree he was not the best hire for the Nets. He's not that great of a coach, and it's been proven. He's a great player, one of the best point guards the league has ever seen. But at the end of the day, you're the reason he got hired. And now you're saying you want him gone. And you want the general manager who got you, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden there. That is a weak move. It's a snake who wants the easy way out once again. And the Nets owner came out in a tweet and said he's got his GM's back and his coaching staff's back, which basically means, yeah, they're getting rid of Kevin Durant. And the Nets, and the thing is, why would you do this if you're Kevin Durant? Because this weakens your trade. Because what front office is going to trade their future or their superstar when they know that if it's not going to work out in the first couple of years, you're going to want out?
Right.
This is not helping his trade at all. This is a weak move. And the Nets hold, first off, all the power. And they're not going to trade Kevin Durant if they're not going to get what they feel is equal in return. Because now they have to build around Kyrie Irving. And if Kyrie Irving can't win with Jason Tatum, they've got to get someone better than Jason Tatum to join them. And there's not a lot of people in the league who are better than Jason Tatum. And it makes me very mad. I'm upset for the Nets franchise. It makes me mad at Kevin Durant. I no longer have any respect for him whatsoever as a person. As a player, you have to respect him. He's insane. But as a person, it ruins Kevin Durant for me altogether. He got Nash hired. He got the Nets to trade their future. He didn't deliver a chip, and now he wants out because of the problem he caused. And it's ridiculous. It's stupid. And I'll be real, if they don't trade Kevin Durant, I don't think he's going to... If he just sits there for a year, I really don't think he will ever get picked up for near the amount of money he's worth ever again because I don't see a GM or a front office that's going to be willing to put up with this guy.
Yeah, I think it's quite funny looking at it. But yeah, I agree with...
I mean, here's the deal. It should have worked.
It should have.
Kyrie, James Harden, and KD played 7 games together.
Yeah.
All 3 of them were on the court together 7 times. Okay? It shouldn't have turned out like that. The Nets made these moves, and they should have won a championship from it. Kevin Durant did not deliver, and what this proves is that Steph Curry will forever be a better player than Kevin Durant. Because Steph Curry has proven that he can stay the course with the team, because when he got to the Warriors, they weren't good. He had to be patient. He had to wait for them to get the players, and him, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green were the core that they built around, and they just won another championship because they are good players who know how to lead a locker room. Kevin Durant has proven he cannot do that. He cannot win without the help of a guy like Steph Curry. He's not a leader. He never will be. He never was. And he's never going to wait to see what a team can do. Because it's possible if he came back to the Nets, him and Kyrie could make a run in the playoffs. They have that talent. It's for sure. But he wants a chip now. And I don't see a franchise that's going to trade their superstar for a guy like that.
I liked the fit. I actually, for one, liked the fit with them getting Ben Simmons because that gave you... Kyrie didn't have to be the primary ball handler. But Ben Simmons didn't have to be a scorer. No. He didn't have to score the basketball. He would not get the attention that he got in Philadelphia because he would have 2 of the best scorers in the NBA. Yep. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And Ben Simmons could play his role, which is being one of the best facilitators and ball handlers in the league. And one of the top defenders in the league.
Yes.
Which filled 2 holes the Nets needed. So, I don't see why KD wants out, honestly. If you have a healthy Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, if he finally gets to play, which I don't know what the whole vaccination, everything, how that is working out right now.
They've said he can
play. If
that's why he opted in.
If you've got all three of those on the court, I think you've got it.
Not to mention Blake Griffin, who passed his prime, but still a great role
player. You're in one of probably the best situation you're going to be in.
For sure, because if you go to Miami or if you go to Phoenix,
they're going to have to give up all their assets to get you there.
It's stupid. He says he doesn't have faith in the Nets' future. It is the future that you curated there, right? That's like saying you had a kid, raised him, and you don't have faith in his future. That's literally you're like a dad walking out on his kid. That's literally what you're doing here. It makes me it's frustrating, man, because KD is supposed to be the guy for whatever team he's with. And he can't, he's proven that he can't deliver.
I think we've had a good episode, so Caleb needs to go jump in a cold shower or something to calm down.
The Yankees play in 10 minutes and calm me down.
Another great episode. We'll have another episode for y'all Tuesday. We'll be in a completely different new setup Tuesday and next Friday. Make sure you go follow all of our socials, the Next Topic Media Instagram, and then our Next Topic Sports TikTok. I've been doing a lot of stuff over there.
It's good stuff, man.
And then both of our Instagrams, all of that will be linked down below. So, we'll see y'all next week.